Imagine a garden where honeybees thrive and wasps vanish, all achieved with just $3 in seeds. This isn't about setting traps after wasps invade or spraying poisons that harm pollinators. It's about designing a living ecosystem that naturally favors bees while making your entire property unwelcoming to aggressive wasps for the entire growing season. By planting a carefully chosen mix of flowers in precise locations around patios, fences, and vegetable beds, within 3 weeks, your garden transforms into a sanctuary for pollinators. There are no wasp nests, no stings, and fruits and vegetables flourish thanks to enhanced bee activity. Forget $40 traps that kill a few wasps while dozens more establish nests, and forget $300 pest control visits that indiscriminately harm every beneficial insect in your yard. No chemical barriers that seep into soil and water. The secret lies in 3 particular plant species, easily found at any garden center, planted in a deliberate pattern that manipulates the sensory biology of bees and wasps. The technique is so powerful that European beekeepers have relied on variations of it since the 1600s to shield hives from wasp predation without harming a single bee. In 2017, a hobby beekeeper in rural Vermont faced heavy losses. 2 hives had been destroyed the previous summer by yellow jackets raiding for honey during late-season nectar shortages. Professional pest control quoted her $450 for pithroided sprays, which would have killed her bees along with the wasps. Instead, she surrounded her hives and lined her vegetable garden fence with lavender, catmint, and borage. Within 4 weeks, bee activity visibly surged as foragers flocked to the new blooms, while sightings of wasps plummeted from dozens per day to fewer than 3 per week. Over the summer, no wasp nests appeared within 50 feet of the planted perimeter, and hive raids dropped to 0. Her vegetable yields climbed 34%, a direct result of enhanced pollination from the thriving bee population. Her total investment in seeds and plants, $850. Compare that to the $450 pest control program she avoided, which would have killed her bees. Globally, the insect repellent and pest control industry was valued at $58,000 in 2023, and projections estimate it will surpass $82,000 by 2030. Wasps and hornet control alone represent over 8,000 tolerant of this market. The business model depends on reactive solutions, targeting wasps after they've already invaded. Traps lure individual wasps with sugary baits while doing nothing to stop new nests. Aerosol sprays kill adults and nests on contact, yet do not prevent fresh queens from establishing colonies days later. Professional chemical barriers cost hundreds of dollars, last only weeks, and often harm pollinators indiscriminately. None of these approaches stop wasp colonization. They only manage existing infestations. A $3 planting method, in contrast, creates a lasting sensory deterrent while supporting threatened bee populations, a model that cannot drive repeat purchases or seasonal service calls that sustain an $800 million segment. Walk into any garden center and inquire about wasp control. You'll be shown traps, sprays, or granular insecticides. Ask about helping bees, and the staff will point to wildflower mixes and pollinator-friendly plants. The 2 areas remain treated as distinct, unrelated solutions. But in reality, the biology of bees and wasps can be leveraged together through smart companion planting. Wasps, visually oriented hunters, are attracted to protein and defend established nests, whereas bees are specialized foragers drawn to particular colors, shapes, and scents. By arranging plants that entice bees while signaling avoidance to wasps, you create an environment hostile to wasp colonization and perfectly suited to bee activity. Garden centers rarely explain this because the strategy requires only a one-time $3 seed purchase, while traps, sprays, and professional services generate recurring revenue every season. To understand where this knowledge originates, travel back to agricultural regions of southern England and northern France around 1650. Beekeepers managing hives for honey and wax production faced relentless wasp predation during late summer when nectar sources dwindled. Wasps raided hives, killing bees and stealing honey to feed larvae. Smoke or physical barriers disrupted bee foraging, so beekeepers experimented with planting specific herbs and flowers around apiaries, discovering that these natural buffers provided effective protection. Lavender, rich in aromatic oils, repelled wasps while simultaneously attracting bees, creating the perfect shield for hives. Plants in the mint family, such as catmint and lemon balm, release aromas that wasps find deeply unpleasant. Meanwhile, borage, with its vivid blue star-shaped blossoms, draws bees intensely while leaving wasps completely uninterested. Together, these species form a natural ecological barrier. Beekeepers documented this technique in agricultural manuals from the 1700s, preserved in archives throughout England and France. It was never seen as a novelty. It was simply standard practice, handed down through generations of apiary management. The method required nothing beyond seeds and minimal upkeep, limited to ordinary gardening tasks. Jump ahead to the 1950s, and synthetic pesticides emerged, marketed as modern and scientifically advanced solutions. Traditional companion planting was dismissed as old wives' tales, despite centuries of proven results. By 1980, wasp control had grown into a multi-million-dollar industry, centered on products that killed indiscriminately. A method costing mere pennies, one that safeguarded bees while discouraging wasps, could not compete with items designed to generate continuous profit. In the modern era, ecological gardening and urban beekeeping movements have brought renewed interest in these old practices. As awareness rises about pollinator decline and the essential role of bees in food production, gardeners increasingly seek ways to support bee populations while keeping aggressive wasps, a real stinging hazard to children and pets, under control. Many have rediscovered companion planting through permaculture guides and organic gardening communities. A 2012 study by entomologists at the University of Sussex in England examined flower preferences among honeybees and common wasps. In controlled field experiments, researchers offered both insects choices among multiple flowering plants. Honeybees showed a clear preference for blue and purple flowers with flat or tubular structures, particularly lavender, borage, and catmint. Wasps, in contrast, avoided these species, favoring exposed fruits, meat sources, and flowers in the white to yellow range, such as Queen Anne's lace and iroh. The study concluded that planting bee-favored flowers created an environment highly attractive to bees, yet unappealing to wasps. A separate investigation, published in the Journal of Chemical Ecology in 2015, explored the volatile organic compounds emitted by mint family plants. Compounds such as menthol, polygony, and nepentolactone, abundant in catmint and spearmint, triggered avoidance behavior in yellow jacket wasps, while honeybees remained unaffected. Wasps actively shunned surfaces treated with these chemicals, even in the presence of food. Before detailing which specific plants to use and their optimal placement, it's important to note what else is included in a complete practical guide to home remedies and garden hacks. There's a $3 rust remover once used by the U.S. military on warships, a $2 wood restoration liquid reversing sun damage, an earth battery generating electricity from metal and soil, and a $2 compost tea reviving struggling plants. Also included is a $2 mosquito larva killer made from dish soap, a $1 salt mixture to eradicate ant colonies, a $1 vinegar solution that eliminates garden weeds, a $2 garlic and cayenne repellent for flies and snakes, a $1 citric acid powder removing toilet stains, and a $1 washing soda blend that dissolves kitchen grease. Over 12 guides, each packed with actionable steps, no filler content. Now, back to the biology underpinning this planting strategy, which can transform how you perceive your garden. Honeybees navigate using ultraviolet vision, scent detection, and learned recognition of flowers. They are most drawn to blue and purple hues because these colors reflect ultraviolet patterns invisible to humans, but strikingly prominent to bee compound eyes. Bees prefer flowers with flat landing platforms or tubular forms that provide stability and easy access to nectar. Sweet scents and aromatic oils, such as those found in lavender, also attract them strongly. Wasps, however, are predatory and prioritize entirely different sensory cues. They hunt visually for protein and are drawn to odors of fermentation, decay, and sugar. Strong herbal aromas like mint, lavender, and citrus repel them, interfering with their ability to detect prey and communicate within the colony. Wasps seek sheltered nesting locations, avoiding areas with intense winds or aromatic plant volatiles that mask chemical signals. By planting dense clusters of lavender, borage, and catmint around patios, gardens, and outdoor spaces, you form a scent barrier that signals inhospitable territory to wasps. Aromatic oils saturate the air, disrupting their olfactory receptors, while bees are simultaneously drawn to the plentiful nectar and pollen, dramatically boosting their activity in the treated areas. The result is a garden teeming with gentle busy bees while wasps remain scarce. In 2018, a field trial led by organic gardeners in Oregon tested this planting method on 15 residential properties plagued by persistent wasp activity. Homeowners established borders of lavender, borage, and catmint around patios, decks, and vegetable beds. Wasp activity was tracked using both visual surveys and sticky traps over a 12-week period from June through August. On average, sightings of wasps dropped 78% compared to baseline counts taken before planting. At the same time, bee visits to flowers increased by an average of 63%. Remarkably, no wasp nests were built within 20 feet of the planted zones. The total cost per property ranged from $6 to $12, depending on garden size. Compare this to commercial wasp traps priced from $30 to $59 each, requiring weekly upkeep and fresh bait, or professional pest control services costing $200 to $500 per season. Here is the precise way to bring this strategy to your own yard. Step 1. Select your 3 plant species. Lavender forms the foundation. Choose English or French lavender varieties, available as seeds or starter plants at any garden center. Barrage, an annual herb with striking blue star-shaped flowers, irresistibly attracts bees, grows quickly from seed, and self-seeds for future seasons. Catmint, also known as Nepeta, is a perennial member of the mint family featuring lavender blue flower spikes and a strong aromatic scent. It is related to, but distinct from, catnip. All three plants are accessible as seed packets for $1 to $2 each, or starter plants for $3 to $5 each. Step 2. Identify your planting zones. Position these species in dense clusters around areas you wish to keep wasp-free. Patio edges, deck railings, doorways, outdoor dining spaces, and children's play areas. Where possible, establish borders 2 to 3 feet wide. The objective is to saturate the air with scent compounds that wasps instinctively avoid. Step 3. Plant in full sunlight. All three species require at least 6 hours of direct sun each day, thrive in well-drained soil, and demand minimal watering once established. Follow seed packet or plant tag guidance for proper spacing. Step 4. Allow 3 to 4 weeks for establishment. Lavender and catmint need several weeks to develop strong aromatic oil production, while barrage grows faster, flowering within 4 to 6 weeks from seed. Once the blooms are producing scent, the deterrent effect begins. Step 5. Observe and expand. Monitor wasp activity throughout the season. If wasps are seen congregating in unplanted areas, expand your borders in those directions the next season. The cost for seeds to cover a typical backyard patio is just $3 to $6. Starter plants for the same coverage range from $15 to $25, but establish more quickly. Once planted, these perennials return year after year with no additional expense, and barrage self-seeds and spreads naturally. Compare that to wasp traps requiring $30 to $50 of replacement bait per season, aerosol wasp sprays costing $8 to $12 per can, or professional pest control contracts ranging from $200 to $600 annually. A suburban homeowner in North Carolina documented this approach after 3 consecutive summers of aggressive yellow jacket activity rendered outdoor dining impossible. She planted lavender in large containers flanking her deck stairs, sowed barrage seeds in beds bordering the deck, and positioned catmint along the fence line. By mid-July, wasp sightings on the deck had dropped to nearly 0. Simultaneously, bee activity in her vegetable garden surged, and her tomato and squash yields reached the highest levels recorded in 5 years. Her total investment? $18 for seeds and plants. Compare this to the $385 pest control service she had used the previous summer, which had killed both bees and wasps in 4 treatments. Now, you understand what the $5.8 billion pest control industry does not want you to grasp. Wasp management is not about killing wasps after they invade. It's about preventing their colonization by creating an environment they instinctively avoid. You now know that bees and wasps have opposite sensory preferences, which can be leveraged through companion planting. You understand that European beekeepers practiced this strategy in the 1600s, and that modern ecological research validates the underlying mechanism. The pest control industry is not eradicating wasps. They are managing them in a way that guarantees recurring payments. A $3 investment in seeds that establishes a permanent living barrier while supporting threatened pollinators is not a product they can profit from. It is too inexpensive, too enduring, and too beneficial for the ecosystem. Rather than telling lies, they simply remained silent, burying the solution under a wall of chemical products marketed as the only option. But now you have discovered it. Share this knowledge with every gardener and beekeeper who has spent hundreds battling wasps while killing bees.